I'm looking for a solid green card to move along with my family to the US and work there.
Okay, cool. And Trump hasn't turned you off?
No, no.
He's better than Trudeau?
Yes, definitely.
What's the appeal about the US? Why not just stay in Canada or even, go back to India?
So my prospects of the job, my career is well progressive there in the US. I have multiple opportunities, and even for bringing up my kids and having them settle down in the future.
You're right now living in Canada. You were born in India, is that right?
Right? Yeah, yeah.
What are
So,
your
mhm.
US immigration plans and career?
I work in the semiconductor industry, and I've been pretty much working my past 10 years for US companies constantly, but I was located in Canada. And then there have been options provided by my company to move to the US through H1B or L1 through internal transfers. But I'm more keen on taking a path where I have a permanent solution to live and work in the US. Even though if I don't have a job, I should be able to reside in the country and be free of that thought of is the visa going to give me status to stay, or should I move out of the country? I don't want to have any ambiguity, so I just want to have a straightforward path where I can actually reside in the country. So that's the reason I'm looking for a solid green card to move along with my family to the US and work there. That's what started this process of immigration from Canada to USA for me.
Okay, cool. And Trump hasn't turned you off?
No, no.
He's better than Trudeau?
Yes, definitely.
It seems like Trudeau decided to pick a fight with a giant, Modi in India. I'm still shocked with all that.
And I'm surprised that he keeps doing it very often. It's not just once, but he keeps again and again. And also, like, given the war situation, like, people have been taking sides and all that. And I really don't think it's the right time to go and.
And what's the appeal about the US? Why not just stay in Canada or even, go back to India?
So my prospects of the job, my career is well progressive there in the US. I have multiple opportunities, and even I would like to move there for that reasons. And even for bringing up my kids and having them settle down in the future, I think US is much better than the Canada at right.
Right now, the only current option is EB-5. So you could invest like $800,000, get a green card that way. Or you could do EB-1A. It's taking, I think, about 2 years for those born in India that haven't
Mm-hmm.
already started the green card process. And then, there's intermediate steps like we could do O1A. But the problem is the spouse doesn't get to work with that visa category or the TN. Does your husband work? Like, is he working full time somewhere? Is he doing consulting type work?
He's working full time
Okay.
for US based again. So
I guess thinking out loud, the internal transfer could make the most sense because then the
mhm.
L1 spouse can work. If not, there's issues with the TN, the spouse can't work or has to get another visa. O1, we could help you with the temporary solution. I think we can
Mhm.
definitely help with the more permanent solution based on your background as well as potentially looking at your husband's background to go for the EB-1A.
Mhm.
Or is the investor visa an option for you guys? Have you saved up some capital to potentially do that?
Is the capital like you mentioned $800,000?
Yeah, you would need to have like liquid at least 200K, if not 400K to start the
Uh,
process, and then you usually have up to 2 years to make the full investment.
is the investment considered even on buying houses, or is it just on businesses?
Yeah, good question. So you can go through a regional center where it's a pooled investment vehicle. I think 95% of investors do that. You invest the capital, they hold it for 3, 4, 5+ years, depending on the structure. You get a very little return, 1, 2, 3%, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to do anything. So that's what most people do. It's going into, a hotel project or some type of real estate project with
Mm-hmm.
other investors seeking the EB-5 visa. Then you also have it where you could invest in your own business, but you have to generate 10 or more jobs. So we've done it
Okay.
for clients where they do like a healthcare related business, education, hospitality, and they're owning and operating the business and they're creating the jobs. So those are the two different options for EB-5. You have to create the jobs either way. It's either if you create it directly or if you rely on the regional center to count all the jobs that are created.
And are we allowed to take other full-time jobs apart from this business, or like we should only be running the business for, like, say, 2 years?
You can do other work beyond that business. You would have a conditional green card to be able to work anywhere.
That would take like in 2 years. So 2 years after that business picks up, and then they give us a proof that we are creating jobs and it's running smoothly. Then when we can apply for green card, is it?
You can apply from Canada, or you come down and you set up the business, you adjust the status, you get work and travel authorization usually in 6 months. You get the conditional green card approved in about a year, and then you have to show that you invested the capital for 2 years and that you've hired Americans, at least 10 full-time jobs over a 2-year period. And then you can ask for the removal of conditions for the green card. Once you've had that conditional green card for 5 years, you can apply for US citizenship.
Okay, okay.
So that's a program of EB5. EB1A, you got to hit 3 of 10 criteria. High remuneration is one of them. I'd imagine for people working in tech in Canada, you're highly paid based on your survey and showing that you're critical to the organization you work at. If you've won any awards, you've been featured in the press, or a project you've worked with has been featured in the press. So there's 3 of 10 criteria. You need to hit at least 3 of 10. Most of our clients apply with 4, and it might take 3, 4, 5 months to document it, as well as see if there's some competitions you could judge to prove extraordinary ability. I would say those are the 2 top paths for you, being born in India, to get the green card for your family within the next 3 years.
Okay. And I also hear some people, they say that were able to convert TN visa into the green card. So is there a path available, like through TN visa to green card?
Definitely. Yeah, we've helped a few people do the TN to green card.
Oh, in that case, is there the same queue that I'll have to join where it's based on the birth country, or?
Unfortunately, yeah. So how it works is non-immigrant visas are based on the passport you have. So whether it's a TN, if one of you became an investor entrepreneur or set up an IT consulting practice or design practice, you could start a business and get a visa that way. And the benefit is the spouse gets work authorization immediately upon entry, but that's based on the passport you have. So having the Canadian passport. But for a green card, immigrant visas, it's always based on your country of birth. So I have Indian clients that were born in Singapore, UK, and it's not an issue. Unfortunately, being born in India, it's all based on just where you were born, not the passport or anything.
Okay, okay. So I think EB5 and EB1A are the 2 options right now.
Yeah, I would focus on that for green cards and like a long-term strategy.
Yeah, so we were considering like a business franchisee in a restaurant, and then like keep it running for a year or 2, and then take up this path of green card, right, where we can apply, and we can like be in the country with the TN visa and work a full time, and then parallelly do this green card work as well, so that down the line in 3 years we will be able to acquire the green card.
Exactly.
Okay, that sounds like a plan then. Okay, it's giving me clarity, like what you actually pursue in real time. So thanks for helping.
No, for
Yeah,
sure.
let me also know how this visa franchising thing works. Like what sort of support you would be giving us, and
Definitely. How we work for EB1A, so like we have our own in-house attorney that specializes in EB1As. That's his like the category he's done the most over the last couple of years. And then we work with different law firms that we bring in based on the client's case to help with the strategy and the filing. And it's basically one-stop shop, A to Z. We do the business plan, personnel plan, document drafting, bring in the attorneys, we follow your case.
Okay. And did you have any Indian clients like who's in similar portfolio as mine?
Yeah. For Indians is like, let's start with EB1A, give it 3 months or 4 months. If you don't get it after the second attempt, we can roll your fees over to do an EB5.
Okay, okay.
I have a lot of Indians that are already here, like on H1Bs. And some of them have had green cards just waiting for like 8 years, but because the delay is like 20, 30 years, we work with them to get the EB1A.
Anybody who have a Canadian background, like from Canada?
Yeah, we're working with a few like that. And then a lot of times what we do is we get the spouse the E2 and we do the EB1A in parallel, or E2 and then EB5. The E2 is nice, but one of you would have to be like kind of an entrepreneur, or we've done it with where it's both of the couple working in tech. One of them sets up a holding company that does, consulting, and maybe there's a franchise underneath that, or maybe there's not, and basically acts as a contractor instead of an employee.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I think that's the pretty much questions I have right now. I could always get back to you through email.
Yeah, just let us know.
Sure, sure. Yeah, definitely.
Well, thanks for the time, and just let me know, if you'd like to proceed with one of those solutions. You have a lot of options, thankfully, with your husband in terms of non-immigrant categories and then those 2 immigrant categories. And it'd be a pleasure to help you, with the E2 if you wanted that, or directly for the immigrant categories.
Okay, yeah, sure. Let me give it a thought. I'll just do a bit of a background research for myself to understand everything more, and I will get back to you in my email.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time.